Civilization is one of the most popular game series on the planet. Since the release of the first game in 1991, Civ has crafted an iconic and addictive strategy game within a grandiose premise, only getting bigger and better over the years. Yet, with the release of Civ 7 earlier this year, I feel some aspects of the series have actually declined since earlier titles, namely immersion. In this video, I will discuss the general decline of Civ Immersion. Judging by the typical content on this channel, you would assume I mainly play RPGs, and that is true, but I am also a big fan of strategy games. It's no surprise then that one of my favorite things that strategy games can evoke is immersion and role-playing.
I propose we ban crabs.
Why?
I don't like them.
In fact, that very aspect is what drew me to Civilization in the first place, especially Civ 5. The feeling of being a civilization, of leading and growing and defending a society through history. The Civilopedia that offers historical background to the buildings and units you are utilizing. The diplomatic leader screen so intricately detailed according to each leader's historical context. A council of advisors that try to counsel you and change appearance as the game goes on. It all contributes to making you, the player, feel invested in this civilization of yours, to feel immersed enough to see this game as more than ones and zeros. Now those samples may not convince you, so I want to give you an example that embodies just how immersed Civ 5 can make you feel through its dynamic role-playing and storytelling. Take a look at this comment. It was left on a Zulu playthrough of Civ 5 Brave New World by YouTuber Zemolf. In this episode, the Zulus defend themselves from a pretty intensive early game assault by the Assyrians who very nearly succeeded. This commenter was so immersed in this fight for survival that they felt the need to name this river to commemorate this great but costly victory. In that moment, this commenter did not see pieces on a chessboard, but the vivid depiction of a Bronze Age battlefield. How do I know this? Because I was the one who left that comment when I was 12 years old. That explains the edgy name. I remember making this comment, despite it being so long ago, because it was one of the earliest times I remember being so engaged in a video game, in a video of a video game, that I felt the need to comment about it. I say this because it shows the great moments you can create in Civ 5. All due to its immersion and being able to roleplay as a civilization. Of course, this potential for immersion is not limited to Civ 5. The older games arguably have it even better. Civ 4 had City Nationality, Relations Web, those great wonder completion videos, and of course, Baba Yetu. Meanwhile, in Civ 3, you could build your own palace and view a captivating artistic rendering of your city. Civ 2 had those iconic live-action advisors.
Sir, the people, they can't help falling in love with you.
Let's do lunch, sir.
And Civ 1 showed these little animations every time you settled a city or constructed a building. These differences may seem insignificant, but altogether they make for an even more immersive experience. However, it seems that with each mainline game released, Civ 5 onward, this immersion declines. Just look at its immediate sequel. I have a strange relationship with Civ 6. When it was released, I hated it, but I have since come to quite enjoy it. Yet, I still feel like Civ 5 does a better job at immersing its player. Now, Civ 6 isn't devoid of immersive elements. It has some that are even better than Civ 5, such as the antique map-drawn aesthetic of the Fog of War and how caravans create roads on their trade routes. It's little things like that that I love. But Civ 5 had a lot more of these little immersive touches which were changed for the worse in Civ 6. The grand cities that would spill out into neighboring tiles were replaced with city centers that remained the same size no matter how much the city grew. Epic introductions to a civilization's leader inside fully modeled environments became them standing in front of similar flat backgrounds like it's a high school yearbook. And most notably, the Art Deco inspired UI design and realistic map style was transformed into a stylized, cartoony look for everything from leaders to terrain. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
But it is very clearly leaning away from the historical, and I would say, immersive atmosphere that Civ 5 cultivated. Civ 6 is a more involved strategy game than 5. There are plenty more gameplay mechanics from turn 1 that you have to keep track of, lest you fall behind. It gives the player more things to do, more strategies to plan, but it also takes away some of your ability to engross yourself in the present game. I find that I cannot get immersed in my Civ 6 games because I'm trying too hard to plan hundreds of turns ahead, trying to optimize and maximize every move. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Civ is a strategy game series. Optimizing is its bread and butter, and I enjoy that gameplay loop. However, sometimes I want to take things as they come, to feel like I'm actually directing a historical narrative. I want to settle cities based on geography and strategic locations, not just 4 tiles apart to maximize adjacency. Civ 5's laid-back nature allows for the player to indulge in some role-playing, whereas Civ 6's board game nature compels the player to avoid this at all costs. Who cares if you found a cool defensible city location? It's suboptimal. We can't have that. I think that is the reason Civ 5 is still popular today. It is easier to understand and has fewer mechanics to worry about, allowing for playstyles that are less optimal but contain so much immersion to still be valid. But as much as I dislike the changes Civ 6 made that lowered immersion, Civ 7 was even worse. Now when it was first announced, Civ 7 looked okay. The art style was a return to Civ 5's realistic approach, and navigable rivers were something I wanted for a long time. But as more information came out, the less interested I became. The terrain looked okay, but the leader models, not so much. And they don't speak to the player like they used to, but argue against the other leader like it's epic rap battles of history. However, switching civs and swapping leaders was the final straw for me. Immersing yourself as the same leader in the same civilization from the ancient era to the modern was what I loved about Civilization, which is why I have still not purchased Civ 7. I know it's not for me. Role-playing as the Romans, or the Zulu, or the Aztecs, from spears to nukes, is what made Civ, well, Civ. Yes, mix and matching different leaders and civilizations does add another strategic element to the game. You could easily argue that allowing for more playstyles is a good thing, no more pesky restrictions, but doing so also loses something intangible that a lot of people, like myself, really enjoyed: immersion and role-playing. With Civilization 7, Civ has gone from a historical strategy game to a strategy game with a historical veneer. Am I just mad that the series is moving in a direction that I'm not a fan of? Probably. But I hope that with this video, I can explain why it is I don't like this direction, and maybe tell others who think the same that it's not just them. I'm Old and Gold, like and subscribe if you want, and that was the Decline of Civ Immersion. Thank you.
Novum et caelum adeo, descendente